everybody. I'm going to introduce you today to a very useful tool called the decision tree. This is a decision support tool that uses a tree-like graph to illustrate the various decisions and resulting outcomes. They are excellent tools for helping you to choose between several courses of action, especially when the problems are very complex. There are different nodes used in the construction of a decision tree. The first being a decision node, and this is represented by a square. A decision node implies that the decision maker is in complete control of the situation, and that means that whatever he chooses will occur with certainty. The second node is an event node, and this is represented by a circle. An event node implies the presence of an uncertainty about the possible outcomes, and this is not controllable. Probabilities are usually attached to event nodes. Next, I'm going to take you through the various steps in designing a decision tree. The first step is to identify the courses of action. These are decisions that have to be made. Thereafter, you would identify the various events or outcomes that can result from the different decisions. The following step is a very important one. It is to decide in the chronological order, and this means that all the decisions and events would have to be put into proper sequence. Thereafter, you would draw the decision tree, and this tree is constructed from left to right and is known as the forward pass. The following step involves allocating probabilities to the various outcomes. Once this is done, you will then calculate the conditional profit of the various outcomes. This is also known as the payoffs that you can expect from the different outcomes. The following step involves calculating the expected monetary value from right to left of your tree, and this is known as the backward pass. This is where you multiply the various probabilities by the conditional profits to get the expected values. And finally, you will choose the decision that has resulted in the highest expected value of profit. Next, I'm going to take you through some very simple steps or simple examples of decision trees. The first example is to decide whether to erect a large or a small factory. Now the choice here is a large or a small factory. But not to erect a factory should also be an option. So you will begin by drawing a square to imply that a decision has to be made, and the branches that would arise out of this square would be to erect a small factory, to erect a large factory, and not to erect a factory. Not to do anything is an implied option. The next example, you are deciding whether to launch an advertising campaign. If launched, the campaign will have a 70% chance of being successful. So again, you've got to begin by drawing a square to indicate that you've got to make a decision. So we're going to draw a square, and the first choice would be to launch a campaign. The second choice would be not to launch a campaign. If you decide to launch a campaign, there will be a 70% chance of it being successful. So we're going to have to draw a circle, and arising out of that circle will be a branch that would indicate a 70% chance of the campaign being successful and a 30% chance of the campaign being unsuccessful. The last example that we're going to do is Cami is considering selling her shares. There's an 80% chance of her getting 10,000 for her shares, otherwise she will get 8,000 rands for her share. So we're going to begin by drawing a square. The one branch would be to sell her shares, and the next branch not to sell her shares. If she decides to sell her shares, there's an 80% chance of getting 10,000 rands for her shares, and otherwise she will get 8,000 rands for her shares, and this will be a 20% chance. Okay, further examples that will be more complex will be illustrated in a later follow-up video. I hope you have enjoyed this video and have learned how to construct a very simple decision tree.